Such an important component to this technique. All right, Austin, where are you starting?
I am starting 8 before the minimoso.
In which movement?
Third movement.
Third movement.
8 before the minimoso. Wins in that movement, you have a quarter note, a quarter rest, and then we're going to start on a half note. So we're going to start on beat 2. So everybody play your first note, so I can make sure we're all in the right spot. Okay, 8 before the minimoso, and then the measure before we're starting on beat 2. Okay. So everybody play your first note. All right, that's where we're going to start. So I will give you 2 and then 1. Started in the same place.
I think the minimoso might go across 1 or 2 bars, so it might be a little bit confusing where that is. So maybe, does everyone know where the pumoso is?
Yeah.
Specifically which bar it's on?
Yeah.
Can you count before that? It should be 16, I think. 16? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that makes more sense. So basically, many of you, wind players, you all have a quarter note on the downbeat and then a half note that's in a new style with a slur marking over it. Percussion, there's a snare drum hit on 1 and crash boom on 2. Okay. That bar. On beat 2 in that bar, right, Austin?
Yes.
Yeah, so he'll give you 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. So right on the crash boom.
All right, so does everybody know where we're starting? Okay, let's try that again. And can we do more with the minimoso? I'm going to do a slight retard into that, so really everybody watch to make sure that we're getting that tempo change. 1, 2. Start at the pumoso section. And actually, I want to start with the very last note. It's short, but it's not staccato. We have an accent written over it. So I want you guys to think of like a string bass. If you're plucking the string bass, pizzicato, it's kind of got a little roundness to it. It's not super long, but a little bit longer than what we're playing. So we're going to do the last note a couple times. I'm going to prep. Boom. Try that again. It's better. Yeah, that's it. All right, so starting with the pumoso section, we have a couple important motives that I want to bring out. Trombones especially. You guys are doing a great job of, it's like the pickup into the third measure after the pumoso. Ba-ba-bum. You guys are doing a good job of playing that stronger. Bring it out just a little bit more, okay? And I think euphoniums have it as well. And then our trumpet, even though there's only one of us, play that as trumpet-like as you can. So, ba-ba-bum. And then low brass, again, 4 before the end, where you come in on the beat 2, really make that strong. So, starting with pumoso. Great. Nice job, low brass, of making that stick out. woodwinds, your scale, can we play that just a couple times? It's sounding very scale-like, but it's not quite so clear to me. So I will give you 1, 2, 1, and come in. Several of you have different meanings. 1, 2. Yeah, let's do that a little bit slower. 1, 2, 1. Good, and I want that to kind of come out of nowhere. So start a little bit softer and then really crescendo towards the end, towards that last note. So it's kind of like a surprise. Okay, let's try that again. 2. One more time. 1, 2. I still want it to start off a little bit softer. Can we start off softer? 1, 2. That's getting there. Okay, let's do the Pumoso section again. Everybody think the string bass pluck on the last sound. Woodwinds were coming out of nowhere. Brass, play out. Pumoso. To the first section, and the thing that I want to work on the most is the tempo change, because even though we went through it twice, I don't feel like we had a really big moment there at the Minomoso. Okay, so we're starting at the beginning of my section on B2. Instead of 1, 2, Good, so that was better. I want a little bit more of a retard in the half notes, in the 2 measures before the Minomoso, so I'm going to try to show that better. And also, I'm going to do a slight pause right before we go into the Minomoso. So 1 and 2, da, 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 da. So can we try, let's do just that measure before the Pumoso. Okay, I'll give you 2. 1, 2. And I'm not going to do it that long. I just want to make sure you guys are watching. So let's do it one more time. This time will be 3. 1, 2. Okay, now let's start back at the beginning of that section. I want to work on the retard into the Minomoso there. So it'll be easier to start from there than having to count from the Minomoso. I'll give you 1. Could you do the same thing the first beat where we come in? I know we have cymbal and bass drum, so a little more from the cymbal on that first note, okay? So let's try that again with our nice percussion hits on the first note. let's try that again.
You actually are out of time,
Okay.
sir. Good job, Austin. How'd it go?
It went all right.
Yeah.
I kind of lost track of time. Wasn't looking right when I started, so I probably should have done that. But I don't know. I feel like they responded to the things that I said.
Good. Good, yeah. How many of you feel like you're losing track of time up there? Most of you, yeah. It's a pretty common occurrence with young teachers. So you'll always want to kind of have that in your mind. Some people wear a watch. Some people put their watch on the music stand. If it's a bigger podium, it's hard to fit a watch on a little tiny stand like that. Or there's a clock in the back of the room. So I want you, as you kind of do this and you get up in front of the group, see if you can even more kind of just pay attention to the time. So when you do your large group, when you're conducting one of the real ensembles for the university, take a look at the time when you start and try and keep track of time. So stay in the moment. Okay, good. What else?
I don't know. I felt like I might have repeated myself a couple times where I didn't need to, and I should have been a little more specific with like where we were starting. It's kind of a confusing place to start.
Yeah. Well, I think it would have been fine, except for the way the meno moso goes across a couple bars.
Yeah.
People may have counted at different bars where it started. So that's a tricky thing. That's why measure numbers ultimately are the most reliable source of start at X. Okay, good. Anything else that you thought went particularly well?
I felt like when I told them specifically what I wanted, like that I was going to do a retard or that I was going to do a pause, slight pause there, or the sound that I wanted on the last note, that they were more responsive to very specific feedback.
Yeah, good. All right, ensemble. Angela.
I like that for the little scalar part at the end that you slowed down and had them work that multiple times. And even when they didn't give you exactly what you wanted, you told them, hey, do it this way, and then you worked it again. So it was really good.
On the videotape, I want you to listen to what they did for that, because they were doing something, and you didn't tell them what it was, but they're good enough that they figured it out and they fixed it. But there was something really specific that they were doing. So I want you to see if you can identify what it was. Okay?
I like that you went over how you wanted the last note to sound, but I think it would have been a little bit more productive to approach it from, like, say, 2 measures before that. So if you like the last 3, I mean, I know I'm holding, so that I approach it from, tied over 2 whole notes. So I guess that would have given me a better idea of how to aim my sound from one, from holding and then suddenly doing a downbeat.
I liked how you didn't lie to us. You didn't say good job. You said we're getting there, so we'll keep working at it. So I like that.
Yeah, and that's something that I really tried to do, because I feel like I just say good a lot.
I like how you work the tempo changes. I think that's what makes this section harder. So good job rehearsing the response.
From being in classes with you before this, I've noticed that you're usually really good at the younger focusing on younger age teaching. So I think you're getting better at broadening that spectrum, because you felt more like you were able to work with a group today than normally, and so I think you're getting better.
Yeah, I was just thinking that I felt more serious.
Yeah. All right, I got a couple things for you. So you're cueing. Do you guys notice that Austin cues somewhere vague before it actually comes in, before they actually start? So for example, right
Bass drum simple.
here, you kind of went boom. So it was like right here you cued it. So you want to make sure, remember we did this with the cueing exercise I gave you, that it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, prep, cue, so that it's in rhythm at exactly the time it's supposed to be. And what's the other important component of cueing that he was not doing?
Looking at it.
Eye contact. You were like this. And so they're not gonna come in if you do that, or especially if it's 2 bars early. I mean, Blake actually one time went like this because of what you cued him. Do you remember doing that?
Yeah.
What way to be self-aware this
He
morning.
asked me about it though. He was like, "Wait a second, were we in the right spot or not?"
Yeah. So work on that for your next thing. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Eye contact, energy, torso facing them, boom. Same thing here. 1, where do you cue if it's on the end of a beat? So like the ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-bum, where do you cue? Beat at which beat? Beat it that it's on the end of. So this would be on beat 2. So bum ba da ba bum ba da ba cue bum bum sorry bum ba da ba bum cue bum ba bum ba ba bum.
Yeah, and I was doing it on beat 1.
Yeah, so the little earlier again. So just slowly work those things out. Eye contact is really, really important. You're saying really, really good things. Your eye contact is what's not happening, and some of the just energy with the baton. So like when you're going to start them, the first time you could even go 1, 2, ba-dum. Breathe with them. Sometimes you forget to breathe. Do you notice that? You forget to breathe when you're bringing them in. So as a piano player, maybe you don't breathe to play. Maybe you do, I don't know. But when you're playing your horn, you always breathe, right? So they're used to that and they'll expect it. Okay, good.